it's Linda. I just wanted to share with you how I made this watercoloured cards using the Neat and Tangled Winter Tree set. First of all, I took some Tim Holtz watercolour cardstock and just prepared it with my embossing buddy or my embossing powder tool. And now I'm going to ink up the trees with some Versamark ink and heat emboss it using white Hero Arts embossing powder. To make the little snowbank go all the way across the card, I ended up just re-inking just the little snowbank part down the bottom and masking off a little bit of the cardstock and re-stamping it over to the edge, and that made the snowbank go all the way across. So I'm just pouring the embossing powder on now and tapping off the excess, and then I'll hit it with my heat tool. So I've heat embossed the trees and the snowbank now, and I've spritzed my cardstock with water, and I'm just dabbing in little touches of paint using some peerless watercolours. I've got a little palette off to the side that my friend Lisa made me. Thank you, Lisa. And you can see I'm just attaching little teeny little dots of the colour onto the cardstock, and all that water is helping it to really seep around and move around really and it makes really fun little patterns. If you have anything go outside the lines, you can just use a paper towel to pick it up. And now I'm just adding in some darker green down the bottom of the tree boughs, I guess they are, and again I'm barely touching the paintbrush to the paper. I felt like a few of the boughs were a little bit too dark. I wanted a bit more of the pale green to show through, so I'm just using a paper towel again to just pick it up. These paper towels work like an eraser with watercolour. It's so forgiving. And see how cool that looks when it all moves around with the water, and you can really play with it. You can move the colours around to wherever you want. Now I've heat set that again because I'm too impatient to let it sit and air dry, and I'm adding some water across the entire cardstock except for where the trees are, and now I'm adding dashes of blue paint for the sky. Obviously the more water you add, the paler the sky will be, but also the more water you add, the better the paint will move around. And for those little detailed areas in between the tree trunks and everything, you can see I tilted the paintbrush in my hand so that it was almost vertically above the paper. Now to create some clouds, you just use a little bit of paper towel that you've got rolled up into sort of a cigarette sort of shape, as imperfect a fold as you can, so that leaves some nice cloud effects. And the great thing about watercolour is it's forgiving, so you can just add in more darkness or lightness wherever you need it. Now I'm taking the Peace on Earth sentiment and stamping it using the My Favourite Things hybrid ink. And to add a little bit of bling, because every card needs some bling, I'm using some of the Neat and Tangled sequins. It's the winter mix, and I'm just using some multi-matte medium to stick that down, so that way it won't show if any of the additional sort of glue squelches through the little holes. Multi-matte medium is my friend because it always squelches through. And for a bit of extra interest, I thought I'd try doing some glossy accent little teeny tiny drops around the card just to see how that would come up. I'm actually making two cards at once, so you'll see two versions of the card a little bit. So this one's just, that's what the glossy accents look like when it dried, and I thought that looked really pretty, like some extra snowflakes. Just brought a bit of extra interest to the card. Now I'm going to put the whole card together. All I'm doing here is roughing up the edges of the cardstock. I really like how textured that watercolour cardstock is, and I thought that the added distress around the edge might look nice. It gives it a bit of interest and makes it a bit less perfect, which is what we want. Now I wanted to have a very thin mat around the outside of that watercoloured panel, but I didn't want to use that entire piece of aqua cardstock, so I just used that little Inker's die, cut a little panel out of the centre, and I'll use that on another card, and kept the mat. And you can see here I'm just adhering it all down to my card front, and that's it. It was really simple. This card came together in about maybe only 10 or 15 minutes. It was really quick. It would take longer if you let your paint air dry, but no need to wait. You've got a heat gun. So you can see how nice that yummy texture is of the distressed edges. And that's the version that had the little glossy accent dots, which I think looks really nice. didn't take too long to dry, and it just brings a bit of extra interest with another kind of snowflake. So here are a couple of close-ups of the card for you to see. Thank you so much for joining me. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a safe and happy New Year's. I'll be back again soon with more videos and cards.